Welcome to the Mary Diamond Show. I am very happy that you are back here listening, and today I'm going to share with you how Feng Shui can enhance your family relationships and the life of your children and perhaps even your grandchildren. So make sure that you have downloaded my free Mary Diamond app so that based on the energy number, you can then focus on activating your family room, your living room, and also the children's room. So one of the major things that Feng Shui can bring to you is harmony and balance. I have, over the last 30 years, helped tens of thousands of families to enhance their family life. And of course, first of all, I used it for myself. I have 3 children. One is 37 at this moment, 29 and 19. And so really staying a happy, wonderful family together, we had to really work with Feng Shui to, first of all, be able to have great communication together. And we always, when we are in our house, a lot of fun, a lot of joy, deep conversations, really seeing my children grow up, all 3 of them, really using their creativity to make it their life purpose, to follow their passion. And I do believe that Feng Shui has helped them tremendously with that. Of course, having a great relationship with my husband for more than 33 years has been, of course, influenced by good Feng Shui. Now, as we already shared, Feng Shui is all about the qi and the flow of the energy in your house. But, it's not just all about money, and it's not all about your health and your success in your life, because the greatest resources that we have, the greatest aspects of life that we have, is having good relationships with the people that we love. And so many times when I come into people's homes, I see disturbance, energy, and that certain images, certain colors really affect the family life and the harmony between the relationships of parents and children, between the children, and we could all improve that. It's really, there's some simple steps and tricks for that. So I'm going to focus on that in our TV show. I'm going to focus on that in the Mary Diamond Show today. The first thing, I would love for you to become aware that each one of you has their own energy number. So to know the energy number for each one of you, you will need to upgrade in the free app, or everybody in the family has to download the free app, because the app always connects in with your birthday and gives a certain profile. And when you upgrade, you can check out all the energy numbers and best directions for everyone. So the first step is making sure that your living space, the space where you all gather, it's not the dining room where you eat, but it's the living space where you are having conversations. Perhaps you're watching a movie together. Perhaps you're coming together there after you're having dinner and just having dessert, or just enjoy yourself. Perhaps you do play games there, both virtually or just playing cards or Monopoly. I don't know what you do in your family, but the place where you can all sit together. Now, in today's world, many times people eat not together anymore, and they come home and they literally go all to their own space, or they grab something out of the fridge and go to be in their own personal space. And especially for children, and especially teenagers, that's kind of what they like to do. They want to kind of retrieve right away in their own little cave, in their own little temple. But it's so important to make your living room a space where there's harmony and balance. And one of the things I would always suggest to you, that you work with colors. Yeah, for me, colors are very important, because colors are frequencies, vibrances, and you can actually always check out the Diamond Energy Principle book that you see here, or you can get it on Amazon in your own country. The Diamond Energy Principles goes over 24 colors that can actually help you to uplift your energy. And one of the colors that always brings joy into the family, brings a feeling of harmony, is actually the color peach. And you can even go to orange. Interesting enough, each time I have placed peach or orange pillows in the living room, people always told that there was much more joy in the family. that they had much more open conversations. Sometimes people come together in their living room and they are arguing. So you can even work with not just pillows, and interesting enough, peach and orange pillows work with all colors, yeah, except if you have red sofas, but otherwise it works with all the colors. And even having an orange candle, for example, or a bowl with oranges in it, just having that color for everyone in the world creates a moment of happiness, a moment of joy, and your conversations will be different. I definitely also suggest that you would lit a candle that is scented, and the best smells for having calmness in the living room, or like a candle with a cookies scent or a vanilla scent. It calms the energy. So if somebody bakes cookies, there's always a certain smell in the house and everybody feels so happy. Yeah, so vanilla is the same, creates the same experience. So having a candle like this, if there's tension in my family, I literally always lit a vanilla candle on the coffee table, so that there's like a warmer energy. And even if you have conversations, even with your children and perhaps even your teenagers or children that are older, and there's a lot of tension, lit a vanilla candle a few minutes before they all come down to have a conversation. The conversation will be immediately calmer. So they're just simple things. Now, another aspect in the living room are plants. So plants always give a feeling of well-being, but you need to be careful, especially in the living room where you have your communication with your family, is that you do not have plants that have a sharp edge. Yeah, like leaves with a sharp edge, and especially if they're close to you, close to where you're sitting. I remember this family, and they said, like, we always argue in our living room, and for some people they will call it a family room. And they had all these huge plants around them with very sharp leaves, and said, you know, you have to think these sharp leaves are like knives. Yeah, and they are pointing at you and you get triggered by them energetically. So make sure that you have plants around you that are blooming, that are lush. So that's why I'm a big favorite of orchids, because they have that blooming, beautiful energy in your house. So place this in your living room would be amazing. And another wonderful tip I can give you is having some crystals around you. And I'm not talking about ceramic or crystal vases, but like real crystals, gemstones, as we call them. And there are some gemstones that really create a frequency of harmony and love. And the first of one is the white quartz crystal. It's a white crystal, and I always like to work with the ones that are coming right out of the soil, not just polished and like rounded, but just like the real crystals. Another wonderful crystal for that is rose quartz. Yeah, a rose quartz crystal, and this one can actually be more polished, and especially if you can find one that says like a beautiful big rose quartz heart. Yeah, and that's of course polished then. And the third one is an amethyst, and an amethyst gives always a lot of intuition, higher conversations. While the rose quartz is more about opening the heart. And so you can do a gemstone amethyst that is coming out of the soil quite rough, or you can look for a more polished heart in amethyst. And when I need to have conversations with my children and also even with my husband that are, you know, quite intense, and you need to kind of set your boundaries, then actually a white quartz crystal is really good. So put it on your table or next to you where you're sitting. Where you feel you need to talk more loving with your children, kind of direct them and gently in the right direction, work with the rose quartz. And when you feel you need to really have a conversation about letting go all the pain, all the sadness, the trauma that somebody has experienced, and you to get into forgiveness, you will work with the amethyst. Of course, when you work with crystals, always make sure you wash your crystals with lavender soap or with sea salt water, and then put them a few hours in the sun, and do that every 6 months, because then gemstones have a tendency to absorb the negative energy, to absorb the tensions and the stress that is in the space. So if you have gemstones and you haven't done that for a long time, then I would definitely suggest that you take it, because they are just absorbers of the frequencies that we want to change in a positive sense. So you wash them, you put them around midday in the sun for a couple of hours. And then what you do before you have this conversation, before you have the gatherings, and again, for example, you have a big family gathering, and there is this cousin or an uncle or an aunt that you're like, oh, they are not always so pleasant. Yeah, so make sure you do the rose quartz. Yeah, and then take that and hold it in your hands, and from your heart put a positive intention in it. Yeah. And the positive intention can be there's harmony in our family. We have a wonderful meeting here. We have a great family gathering. So we can actually work with crystals to calm the energy down. And it feels like you have some of energetic control over what is going on in your space where you gather with the family. Because, everybody comes from a different background, a different energy field. They come home and perhaps they're stressed, another is excited. Where do you find the balance and the calmness in your family? And, you will see that, first of all, your children won't always rush to their bedroom or to their games. They will rather stay with you. And, of course, when you want to have a conversation, take off the television. You don't want to keep the television going on. You don't want to have distraction because too many times we distract ourselves instead of being connected. Yeah. So your home can help you with that connection, but don't distract yourself. Even sometimes music, background music, can distract you from a really deep and good conversation. One of the things you can also do is sit in a power position in your living room. So never sit as a parent with your back to the door when your children are coming in. Yeah. So make sure you're sitting on the sofa and not at the seat where when people come in, you don't see them coming in. Yeah, we talked about that in our previous podcast. And the wonderful thing is that when you are sitting, seeing the children coming in or seeing the family coming in, we literally are in a welcoming mood. We're opening our heart towards that. One of the things I sometimes see, even when people gather and they have a wonderful meal, that the mom, right, or the one that is bringing in all the food sits the closest to the kitchen, but that's most of the time with their back to the door. And then they are not part of the conversation. So make always sure that you are sitting in a power position, because as an adult, you need to be the most welcoming and inviting to have the conversation go to the next level. So these are some tips that I want to share with you. And then, of course, one of the things I would suggest, you can actually look at your energy number. And especially for children, and for them to feel welcome in the living room, I would put a picture of your child in the success direction, in their success direction, in the living room. Like my daughter has a picture in her success direction. My oldest son, I have a picture of him and his family in his success direction. And of my second son, I have a picture of him and his girlfriend in his success direction. So they're represented in my family. Yeah. And I do have, both for my husband and me, a family picture with our children in our relationship direction. And remember, for the energy number, you look from the center of the living room and see where you place things. Make sure that your space around you is supporting you. And I'm looking forward to share in the next podcast about how to activate with Feng Shui your children in their space, in their bedroom. But this was really about bringing your children in a better communication by using your living room. So for more information, please go to www.mariediamond.com. Of course, you can check out my books on Amazon and going to my social media. And I'm looking very much forward to share more wonderful information with you in the next Mary Diamond Show.